Okay, so back to efficiency, which is what my gotcha was at the beginning. This is the Toyota way, right? This is one of the seminal books on what Toyota thinks of as the Toyota way, what most of the rest of the world thinks of as lean or lean manufacturing. And the key takeaway here is that if you focus on quality, then the efficiency will follow. I don't think that's me. All right, thank you. So the goal of an organization is to increase quality through continuous improvement and also investing in people and respecting the people, right? Again, getting back to that people, process, and tools thing. Toyota very much believes, as automated as they are and as much work as they've done on their process, fundamentally it's about empowering people. So I'm going to go through this kind of quickly, but it's this idea that quality is all about, is defined in the eyes of the customer. That's something that sometimes we struggle with as lawyers. I know a lot of people that will listen to the second or third fact in a fact pattern, and our issue spotting brain kicks in, and we say, okay, shh, let me do my law to you now, right? I've got it. And I think being able to really get to what the customer expectation, using either the job to be done question or the user story questions to get to the root. What are you trying to solve? What are you trying to accomplish with that solution? I think is important. So here's the chain, right? And when I say efficiency is a terrible goal, the reason I say that is that if you start at the bottom, you can wind up making the wrong things efficient. But if you start at the top, then the rest of it will actually flow pretty naturally. So step one is you have to define quality. And when I say define it, I mean actually like write it down and document it. And that's a problem with a lot of lawyers too. And I'm being a little harsh and maybe a little accusatory. And I know that I fell into this when I was practicing more, right? Most lawyers' version of quality control is I know it when I see it. Right? I have experience, I have knowledge, it's in my head, let me just read it, right? The lawyer's version of a quality assurance check is let me read through this a fifth time to make sure I didn't miss anything on the previous four, right? That's not efficient. Now, I'm not saying that we can get all of that out onto paper, because I think there is a lot to the actual experience that's in your head, and sometimes you do just have to engage with the material for a while. I get that. But what I will say is that you have to figure out how much of the practice that you have is basically equivalent to sheet music, meaning you're going through it pretty routinely, right, the boilerplate stuff, and how much of it is jazz, right? Where are you actually going to go solo and actually try to find the space and the rhythm and the gaps between the art of the language and all the rest? And the more that you can document, okay, the rules for your sheet music, right? By writing it down and getting a definition of quality, you create a de facto standard. And if you then execute your work to your own definition of quality over time, you will standardize your practices, just naturally. Once you've standardized your practices, you will become more consistent in the way that you deliver that work. That consistency, if you can then communicate it to more people across your team, across resources, maybe even using some of the legal process outsourcers, and say, look, I need you to do this thing. Here's my quality standard. Ready, go, right? Now you can start to balance your load. And when you can balance your loads across more people, right, that frees up capacity within your organization so that you can spend more time on the jazz type work, right? The solos, the more deeper engaging work, and not sacrifice quality on the boilerplate because you've got it standardized, you've got it accounted for. When you have more capacity, the work is going to flow through your system more efficiently, right, or more consistently, and that consistent and accelerated flow is what will get you the efficiency that you're looking for. So again, not making more holes and more things more quickly, but coming up with highly repeatable, consistent, checkable sets of operations so that you can get to a high quality output consistently over time. Right, so again, if you focus, one of the core takeaways of Lean is if you focus on quality, delivering, and also communicating, right, to your client, to your customers, what the quality is, right? Because if it's when we know it, when we see it, but we don't communicate it well enough, then that still creates a value gap. So we have to be able to communicate it in a way that the client will appreciate and also will engage with, right? Because they're busy too. They don't want to hear your 20-minute soliloquy about the brilliant thing you found. They just want to know what's in it for them.